What's up, guys? It's Andy Frisella.
This is Director X.
This is Amberly Lago.
This is Sina Sadaf.
Yo, this is Apathy of the Demigods.
This is Bradley and Michael Francis here.
This is Chris Voss.
Yo, this is Charlie Tuna.
This is Ryan Serhant.
This is James Harris.
Hey, this is Steve Sims.
Hey, what's up? It's Billy G.
And you are listening
to the Run GpG podcast.
Stop playing. Please stop.
Originally from Long Island, New York, Forbes Riley began her life in the limelight when she was named Miss Teenage New York and made her television debut with Bob Hope in the Miss Teenage America pageant. Since then, she has appeared on numerous TV shows and movies. However, she has become a familiar face to millions for hosting and appearing on countless infomercials and live TV. She has been a spokesperson for some of the biggest brands and has literally sold billions of dollars worth of products and services through direct response TV and live appearances. In addition to that, Forbes is a successful entrepreneur, an inventor, a fashion star, an author, a mother, a life coach, and a motivational speaker. Forbes, it's an honor. Welcome to the Run GpG podcast.
You know, David, I should just wake up in the morning and have you read the bio because it makes me feel very important. I love it. Thank you.
It's impressive, and it's your bio.
But actually, that's not really impressive. Actually, what you're missing is that I helped create a little thing called the X Games in 1995 with Stuart Scott. Starred in more than 24 movies, and actually, it's 2.5 billion in sales. But hey, we're just getting started. And this little guy also 2.2 million of these things. So, you know, come a long way from being Miss Teenage New York.
Absolutely. There's a lot to get into here today. You know, when we break down your bio, I mean, so much interesting, facts to, where you started, where you are now. But I've heard you speak, and I was telling you this before, you're one of the most dynamic speakers, motivators I've ever listened to. So the first question is, have you always been like that? Are you someone who's always been a dynamic personality?
I've always been absolutely picture perfect. Life is so easy for me, and ooh. No, freaking no. In fact, it's so funny because you start out with this Teenage New York thing. You want to start about who I am? I'm a little girl from Long Island who grew up talking like this, who had frizzy hair. I had braces for 8 years of my life. When I was 8 years old, I got hit in the face with a baseball bat. My nose grew really crooked. And I was anything but all the things that you're mentioning. And I was also overweight because fast food had just come out. I'm going to actually bring up a picture because I think one of the problems with media is that we're all comparing ourselves to something that looks picture perfect on camera, right? But so not it. What you see here is what I created, is what I dreamed I could be if I got it all together. And there's no way. I mean, I think in high school, I was voted least likely to even show up. Like no one knew I was there because when I was 15 years old, on top of everything I dealt with, my dad stuck his hand in a printing press by accident. He had an accident, spent 3 years in the hospital, 15 operations. And now this ugly, awkward, goofy little girl who has no friends anyway is in the hospital every night with her father. Okay. Now, people always say to me, and I love the power of Zoom because I'm going to show you something to prove this point. Okay. Can you guys see my screen here? Mm-hmm. So this is my dad. And I will say the biggest thing that I had going for me was 2 loving parents because that makes a big difference growing up. And I started out very cute, but as you can see, I had this big gap in my mouth. Apparently I had a very weird cleft. That cute little nose when I'm 8 years old will go bye-bye when I get hit. And for 8 years, David, do you have kids?
Yes, 2.
How old?
22 and 19. Okay,
remember when they were little? Putting your daughter in braces for 8 years, and then they put this thing in my mouth, and for 2 years, I talked like this, okay? So I couldn't even be heard. Here I am, a very overweight, ugly, broken nose, frizzy hair girl with very few friends, and my dad's in the hospital, right? My mom says to me, we have no money for college. And I'm like, well, there's my dad, actually, and there's the printing press, and that's how it all happened. And so this is me. And she says, well, there is a beauty pageant coming to town. I'm like, and we both looked at each other. It's like, yeah, I know. You don't look like Marsha Brady. And my dad's doctor overheard us talking. And he said, I'll fix her nose. I was 15 years old. Well, I don't fix her nose. Well, he did. And David, I got to tell you, I'm an advocate of any kind of plastic surgery because it made that girl look really cute. Like really cute. And I entered this pageant. And entrepreneurs always talk, we need this why. You know what my why was? My why was I wanted to save my family. We had no money. My dad was in the hospital for 2 years. And just because that little nose and a sense of confidence, I beat out 500 girls for Miss Teenage New York. And I win this. And and that's a hand-me-down bridesmaid's dress. But I had a very clear, my teeth were straight. My nose was fine. And all of a sudden, then I went to the nationals, Miss Teenage New York with Bob Hope. I'm a little overweight, but I was cute enough to get there. And here's the crazy thing about that. I did get to college, and there's my mom, 260 pounds her whole life, which is why I care about fitness so much. But now I created this Forbes Riley, and I look the way I had dreamed because I grew up watching TV and movies. And as an isolated, awkward, weird kid, it kind of paid off. You know, I have a great understanding of people who suffer. I look the way I want to look. I think I'm kind of cute. And you know what? And I'm older than most people, which is weird. Like, yeah, I hate to even say it.
You don't look a day over 29. You know this.
And do I look 61?
You're 61.
I know.
See, that's the part I did not do the research on that. I didn't think you were 61 though.
Well, here's the funny thing. My license says it, but I just don't believe it. And if you don't believe it, it's not real.
Yeah.
And then the other part of my story is I wanted to fall in love with an amazing man. I had been married. I also raised a kid who was murdered. There's a lot to this story. I raised a little boy for 12 years from South Central who 6 months after my beautiful twins were born was gunned down by a gang member. He wasn't in a gang. He was walking from a haircut to church, wrong place, wrong color. He was wearing blue and you know? And so for me, one of the things that's been important that kind of destroyed my marriage, it destroyed both of us for a long time. We have these two beautiful twins who just turned 18. And I wanted to do the second act of my life. And I said something crazy. I said, I want to fall in love with someone who looks like he walked off the cover of a romance novel. I had a whole lot of other things, like he needed to be really nice. He needed to roll over in the morning and say, when my hair's all frizzy, my mascara's down my face, going, you're the most beautiful thing in the world. And he does. And then January of this last year, 2020, he was on his motorcycle. He got hit by a car. He lost all of his muscles. He shattered his entire ankle, coma, surgery, horrible things. And I want to share with you that this man, it's kind of a cool thing here, is my love, but he shriveled away to nothing. He was a bodybuilder before that. And he said, I'm going to be Mr. Olympia in 2021 of October. And David, this is what he looks like now. And he is 17 years younger than me. And I will tell you, it's one reason I have to work out so hard to look good, because I want to look like his wife and not his mother.
There we go. Wow. That's impressive right there. That's impressive.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
1 year. 1 year.
1 year. 1 year. That's it.
1 year. Now, he trained before, so I'm sure there's some muscle memory. But I have to tell you, I've watched this man with a crutch. He still limps, get out of bed every day, whether he wants to or not, and live the life of a champion. And we have 3 weeks left to go. And I don't want to cry, but I'm so freaking proud of him. And we met. This is another crazy thing. I'm all about manifesting. So while all my past is nice, and now I like the fact that I kind of set you straight, that it's not all that it looks. This is a life that I fought for. And now I fight for other people's, because Forbes Riley, we even have a banner thing here. So what would Forbes do? What Forbes would do is she would be outrageous. She thinks outside the box. I talk about her sometimes in the third person because she's pretty cool. At home, Joshua calls me by my given name, because I learned something about male and female energy. How long have you been married?
25 years.
Congratulations. I bet that your wife is sweet and pretty and loves you, but she doesn't challenge you. Like, she doesn't want to be more macho than you, does she? Or
no.
does she? No, I don't think so. Well, here's what happened for us. Is that after Dexter died, I went to work because my career was building, and my 6'6" ex-husband, who's a Notre Dame football player, I'd come home like this, going, I slayed the world, I did all this. And he'd go, well, here's dinner, honey, let's wash the babies. And then I go, let's go to the bedroom. And he's like, oh, I got laundry. And I lost a little of respect. Again, we were both young and naive. Who knew, right? I then would come home really tough, and he'd be really tough, and we'd go, bam. You know what? It didn't dawn on me. It didn't dawn on me to come home in my feminine. Because I've been working so hard, and by the way, when you're in business, you get rejected, you get hooped on all over the place, and I now learned that I need to be my feminine, and I need to let my man be who he is, and that's been an interesting journey for us. Because when women are on their own long enough in business, we get really tough, and that's not fun to be around, because you also have a male and female energy inside of you. And that's been a great life lesson I like to tell my women, especially my single women. Don't be you're laughing. Don't be the
Well, it was because I just replayed that. The only reason I thought about it is because my wife is she's pretty tough, right? So she can push me a little, but you're right. There has to be
Smart. She pushes you as a woman because we know how to do that. Oh yeah. Trust me. Nobody explained the idiosyncrasies I probably should have learned.
Yes. Well, hey, shout out to us 25 years. I've never said that on the show though.
That is monumental.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time. And yes, I was a teenage dad. Had to be. Look how young I look.
I had my babies at 42.
Yeah, is that right? I'm going to ask you, I do want to get into this because I think you have so much to say to like working moms today. I do. So I do want to get into that, but let's back up for a minute. So you got into acting though, which eventually led to the infomercials and direct response sales, et cetera. So before we talk about, the infomercials and TV, how did you get into acting?
Well, I haven't been asked that question in a long time. By the way, go look up Splatter University. Okay. On YouTube. It's my first audition, first feature film. I landed the lead role in that film, and it's still a cult classic. When I finally got the nose fixed and went off to college, I always had a dream inside of me that I thought I was special, but nobody else agreed. Nobody. They saw the outside of me and they put me down and made me feel bad. I was I was overweight. I was broken up, whatever it was. Senior year of college, I'm going to be a lawyer, which is what you are from my hometown if you're smart. And I auditioned for a play. I always audition for plays, and I always got townsperson number 3 or chorus person far from the left. Never got a lead role ever, but I always auditioned. I just kept having this feeling inside of me, which is about perseverance. I learned a lot of lessons, and I believe that life happens for you, not to you. If I'd gotten the lead at the first audition, I wouldn't be here helping other people. I'd just be living a shallow life somewhere. But I never got it, and I had a lot of struggles that I've overcome. So senior year, I auditioned for Shakespeare's As You Like It, biggest role I ever wrote for a woman named Rosalind, right? And I do the audition, I go to the call sheet, they post those. And I'm looking for townsperson. I didn't even make townsperson. I'm looking going, my name's not anywhere. And I got really upset. And it's funny how you'll put yourself down even when you don't need to. Have you ever done that? Like you're the first one to tell you how bad you are, even though people think you're wonderful. I then said, wow, who's the lucky girl who got the lead role in this play? And I went to the very top and damn, there was my name. And I was, and I went to Professor David Richmond, and he was our drama coach. And I said, can you help me out here? See, I don't even know. What are you thinking? And he's like, you are my ideal Rosalind. He sat me down and he said, look, I get a sense from you about all the struggles and all the pain and all the humor and all the pathos and all your communication skills. And he went on and on and on. And you know the really weird thing about Professor David Richmond? He was 100% legally blind. He never saw anything. He just went on what was inside. The play was a big success. And based on that belief, one man's belief in me, I called my parents and said, I love you guys very much. I'm not going to be a lawyer. I'm moving to New York City to pursue an acting career. And there was silence on the other end of the phone. And they're like, all right, look, we love you. We can't financially help you, but go for it. And I did. And I'm going to start to cry. And I moved into a little tiny studio in New York City. And I auditioned for my first feature film and I got the lead role and I was off and running. And that, by the way, I did a lot of movies and soap operas, but I always fought my weight during that time. And so that was a very debilitating thing. I'm on Broadway with Christopher Reeve and I'm being told I have to go to Overeaters Anonymous. And even though I was only like 15, 20 pounds overweight, it didn't stop. And it fueled a fire in me to create fitness solutions, which is why I know we'll get into it a little bit, where SpinGym came from. And we talk about the why you do things. I have amazing whys. Why? I had to prove to my parents. I had to prove to myself. I had to prove to everybody in high school who thought that I didn't matter. And I went on this mission to prove that I did, because some spirit inside of me said, you're going to make a difference in this world. And I know that sounds crazy, but I've always heard that. And I have been on a mission for 4 decades to do that. And I finally arrived at this age, at this point in my life. Oh my God. And I've been through so much. You have no idea. But I also have a trail of accomplishments that are second to none. Like, so when people look at me, and then that's how the infomercial thing started. Turns out I have a gift. Some people can sing, some people can play the piano or the guitar. My gift is being able to pitch. What a weird gift. I can pitch anything, anytime, anywhere. This is how it started. I walked into an abandoned studio. It was a camera and a piece of paper and a pen. And it said, sell me this pen. I thought this was a joke as an actress. I'm like, I hate being sold. All right, here goes. My mom, when I was in college, I got to college at 16. She used to write me these longhand notes in ink. And I'll tell you something really funny about a pen like this. but a pen like this can reach out and touch somebody's heart. Well, okay, I just did that, and this is what I got out of that. Jake of Body by Jake comes out from behind the thing, grabs my face. You're going to make me a lot of money. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, guess what? I landed this job from that, and we started an industry where we sell fitness products on television. And it all started from
Total fitness, total convenience, 24 hours a day. Now get ready for the latest in sports, fashion, and exercise gear on Fitness Plus.
Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and today we've got a great product for you. Take a look at this. Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and backed by popular demand, the best way to develop rock-hard abdominals. Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and welcome to Fitness Plus. Now, if you want to burn calories and tune your whole body, all in the comfort. Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and joining me to explain how you can...
by the way, I loved your face, David. That's me in my late 20s.
Well, I remember that, Forbes. Like, I remember those. Right.
So here's what
I listen, I remember those, and it was kind of funny because I was at a party last night and I was what's going on this week, who you have next on the show. And I said, do you know who Forbes Riley is? And the gentleman across the island from the bar said, I know who Forbes Riley is. And it was very random. And it's because of that. Right. So, to our listeners and viewers, if Forbes looks familiar, that's why,
Yeah, it's part of it. So here's what's interesting about the story. I've been on television all your entire life. You just didn't know it was me.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
I know this. So Jake of Body by Jake sells this network for $500 million to Fox TV. Okay? Literally. But came out of that. So I helped create, get this, imagine this, the concept of selling fitness on television. It did not exist before we got there. And then I did the first 35 infomercials ever, because that's what came out of this. And in fact, this is Jack LaLanne. Remember, the Jack LaLanne juicer ran forever on television. Here.
Today, as Jack LaLanne, his lovely wife Elaine, and celebrity host and product expert Forbes Riley tell you everything you need to know about the amazing power juicer and
breathing testimonials to the wonders of juicing, Elaine and Jack LaLanne. Jack,
how are you?
This infomercial, my friend, ran 400 times a week back then, and it grossed $1 billion in sales. Nobody really notices that. I'm like, oh my God, that's insane, right? $1 billion in sales? So all of a sudden I went from just being an actress to having this crazy career. Here, I'll just do one more little video because then you're going to go, oh my God, you've seen me everywhere. You just didn't know it. Here, watch this.
The queen of infomercials. It is Forbes Riley.
Forbes Riley is fun. She's interesting. You've got 5 minutes. You've got the time. Forbes Riley is dynamic. She helps people. You've lost 140 pounds. She's eclectic. She's a storyteller. And I talk about her in the third person because sometimes I can't believe that I get to be that person. All the vegetables are in that one glass. That's actually good. I have made for you a gourmet panini, but it's so easy.
I love it.
And so, and I don't have a great PR person because I think people should probably know this story because it's extraordinary. I was very happy for the last 18 years raising my children to be kind of quiet about my life. And before social media came out, my friend, there was no way for people to know what you were doing.
Okay, so backing up then, Jack LaLanne's juicer, that infomercial grossed over $1 billion. What was it about that one that made it so successful? Can you think of that?
Oh, I know exactly what it is because I teach this subject.
Yeah.
Number one, Jack LaLanne, when I met him, he was 88 years old. He started health and fitness when he was 15, and he was a revolution. He's the reason that fitness is in every health club. He is the reason that we do a lot of the things. He created Carnation Instant Breakfast, and half the equipment you see in our gyms came out of his brain. When I met him, it was what's called a perfect storm. I was eager. I just pushed out 2 7-pound babies, and I had a little bit of belly on me, and I was so desperate to lose the weight. I'd always been juicing, but I met the man. I met him, and there was so much love and respect. To this day, which is now 18 years later, his wife and I are still best friends. I just saw her. She's 95 years old, and it was this honest conversation. And I do teach pitching, and we should get into this a little bit because I'm passionate about pitching. Any idea, product, or service that you have in your head, in your heart, to get it to somebody else is the act of pitching. I've hosted 194 infomercials. That's insane. There's no other woman or man at this point who's done that many infomercials, because the other thing is you don't see how they go all around the world. I mean, I'm huge in Russia, in Egypt, in South America. We're big here, but it keeps going. And then you lace in this home shopping. Now, I'm pursuing a real acting career. I've worked on Broadway. I've done movies and television and soap operas. And people would make fun of me. Oh, you're going to just sell crap on QVC. I'm like printing money. Do you guys understand that I took my fitness product? First, I launched on a reality show. Then I did QVC and HSN. I did one day. One day I sold 64,000 of these. I got a $1.2 million check. And people were like, wait a second. So you didn't even understand the world that I was playing in. You could gross that much money. And it's kind of like digital marketing now. Nobody really believes you can make, do a $5 million, $10 million launch in a weekend, but you can. And so I've lived in this crazy world. And now the only reason people know about me is I set out to teach it, YouTube and Facebook and those kind of, outlets. But before social media, no, it was very hard to get PR for what you were doing unless you were a major movie star.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, I'd like to get your perspective on this because you're someone who created a brand or branded yourself through direct response marketing, as you just talked about there, right? So I ask this question quite a bit, especially to, entrepreneurs. What's the difference between branding and selling? Can you think of that from your perspective?
Oh my God. You know what? You're going to have to come take a pitch class. All right. So first of all, a brand, you're a brand right now. Your brand is a dad. Your brand is a husband. Your brand is a podcast host. And your brand, I'm looking at the leather jacket, the slick hair. You don't look like you're boring. You don't look middle class in like middle mindset. You look a little hipper than that. That's a brand. Just looking at you. And so brands are how we perceive something, whether it's real or not. And then you can push that forward to create a color for a brand. You see two little M's, you go, oh, McDonald's, you see red, you go, that's getting in somebody's psyche. So for the last 20 some odd years, I've been obsessed with the brain, how it thinks, how it processes, both to itself and to other people. And that's what I teach. I've taken it so far to become a hypnotist, an NLP expert, and pitching. This is a crazy thing. Most people talk. I choose to communicate. So I'm thinking right now that I'm talking to you, but I know there's an entrepreneur out there who's just starting. I know there's a mom listening to me who's like, well, this is cool if she could do it. But all those things are happening. And so most people only think about themselves and they're talking. Do you have a point to your story? And so I teach these principles, like begin with the end in mind. How do I want this to end? How do I want people to fall in love with what I'm doing and be inspired to have a better life themselves? Are you open for some coaching?
Yeah, I coach. Yes.
No. Are you open for me coaching you for a second?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
So, hey, David, what do you do?
I help real estate associates create an exit plan out of their business.
So here's my next question. Why did you tell me that?
Because I always think it's about, helping X with the desired result.
But why did you tell me? Now, this is the psychology of pitching. This is how I made $2.5 billion. Honestly, I don't really care because I'm not in real estate. I don't live where you are. So you told me something that has no reference to me. Mm-hmm. You're talking to me, but you gave me some pat answer about exiting real estate people. I'm like, well, great for you. That's what you do. Mm-hmm. Here's the deal, guys. Everyone listening to this. When someone asks you what you do, they don't care what you do. They care what you can do for them at that moment.
Yep. I agree with you.
And it's really an interesting reason and why. And if you think about it, you'll make more connections and you'll generate revenue faster. So watch this. Now you're talking to me, Forbes Riley, right? Mm-hmm. And if I asked you what you do, how could you get a yes from me? It's fascinating. How could you get a yes from me? Go ahead, go.
How can I get a yes from you? Uh-huh. Well, would you like to help tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people by talking about your story for a few minutes?
Okay, so that's how easy this is. So David, if Forbes Riley is at a party with you and says, hey, David, what do? You don't tell me about real estate because it's not the thing that's going to get anything out of me. You would say, hey, Forbes, you know what I do, man? I'm one of the top podcasters and we would benefit by having you as our guest. Would you like to do that? That's the answer to that question in this situation. That is kind of crazy, right?
No. I agree with you. You pitch to different people different ways. I do believe in that. I do.
Right, but people don't realize that what do you do is the beginning of a pitch.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Well, actually, it always is. And let me tell you something. It always is because pitching is not selling. Pitching is enrolling. Here's what I define pitching as: excite, engage, and enroll. I just want to enroll you into what I'm up to so that you and I become friends. And so ask me the question, what do you do?
What do you do, Forbes?
I could say I'm a $2.5 billion host. I'm the former host of ESPN. I'm this, I'm that. And you're like, whoa, yay, rock on, good for you. But when I'm at a party, here's what I actually do. And it sounds crazy, almost always. Ask me what I do.
What do you do, Forbes?
I created the greatest fitness product on the planet. Do you want to see it?
Wow. Yes, I would like to see it.
So I just got a yes from you.
Yes.
And then I'm going to say, give me your thumbs. Give me your thumbs. Yeah. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this on there and we're going to actually spin gym. Now, here's the crazy thing for everybody who watched. Why did David give me his thumbs when I'm not even in the same room with him? And you know why? Because I told you to. And psychologically, people will do things that you tell them to do. And if you can understand my craft of pitching, you can get literally, you can get yeses and make money from a handshake. Just saying.
Well, if this was Brad's show, we'd drop a bomb right now because that was fantastic, Forbes. Well done. That was incredible. That was a clinic, everyone. That was a clinic. So well done, Forbes. So yeah, that's called the spin gym, right?
So all right, well, yes, we'll get to the spin gym in a second. Can I give you an insider thing that's going to blow Brad's mind and Grant? All right. So I had a chance to speak at 10X a couple of years ago. Grant was just becoming well-known. And here's another clinic in how do you get what you want. Number one, you have to know what you want. And I call that Grubhub. Hey, Grubhub. Yes, ma'am. What do you want? I want food. I'm hungry. No, what do you want? I don't want a hamburger. I had a hamburger. What do you want? And they hang up at some point because you're not telling them. The universe is the exact same way. What do you want? Well, I'd heard about this Grant and Elaine a couple of years ago, and I said, I want to meet him. I think I have an idea. I'm not going to tell you just yet. If I met him, here's what I would do. And I'm a big person in research, leverage, and strategy. So I go to an event to meet him. And sure enough, down the hall, here he comes with Elena and a whole bunch of other people. And I'm with Joshua. And I said, okay, now when you meet a celebrity in an elevator or somewhere, people normally just throw up all over them. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I just love you. You're all blah, 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 and nothing. Grubhub, yes, ma'am. What do you want? I want a Caesar salad, extra chicken croutons on the side. 20 minutes later, at my door, Caesar salad, extra chicken croutons on the side. How did they know? Because I wanted it. So I'm walking down the hall, right? And I see Grant and I think, okay, don't talk to him. He doesn't know you. I go to Elena and I'm like, hi. And I say something about who I am. I'm gross this. I said, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to put your husband in an infomercial. I think that we could up his popularity. I give them what they want. She immediately says, Grant, you need to meet this girl. Well, what better than an introduction? I got an introduction to the man I wanted to meet by his wife. Think about how quickly I put those things together. Grant, nice to meet you. Took a look at Joshua, which doesn't hurt because Joshua looks really big. I said, I don't think he knew who I was when I met him. I said, hi, I'm Forbes Riley. I've grossed 194 infomercials, grossed a couple of $1 billion. And I think that you need to be with me doing a show on the air about real estate and da-da-da. He said, of course. He invited me to the Mandalay Bay to his big event. And because of all these pitching skills that you don't realize, this happened. And I'm forever grateful to the two of them for trusting me and letting me on their stage. This has been 4 months in the making and a lifetime to actually get here.
When I heard her story, it just touched my heart.
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving.
She brought the house down.
Forbes Riley is amazing.
I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going,
And that came out of a handshake, my friend.
I was just going to say from an elevator pitch to the big stage, Forbes.
Yeah, it right? was. I'm not kidding about how I just got chills when you just said that, because that's what a pitch will do for you. Mm-hmm. And a pitch is about also having your sense of self-esteem altogether, even if you're nervous, but understanding how to serve others in the moment quickly and stop talking all about you. Well, I'm passionate about this and I do that. And it's great for you. Why are you telling me?
Well, as everyone just heard, I failed the test, but I got coached through it by Forbes. So I am very grateful.
Okay, wait, cancel. Say cancel.
I can't.
You have to.
I didn't do it right.
No, say cancel.
Cancel.
I learn more from my failures than I do from my successes. Say
I
it.
learn more from my failures than I do from my successes.
So now you just learned a great lesson and everybody else didn't. Thank you.
With the time we have left, because you do have that hard stop, you showed us the spin gym, a few other things. What was your first taste of entrepreneurship?
Well, all right. Let me share you SpinGym, because this is my big lesson in entrepreneurship on every level. Because up until that point, I've been hired as a spokesperson. I write pitches for major companies, for small entrepreneurs, and everybody in between. And then I coach people to do them. But this is kind of a miracle. I wanted to, for years, find a product that I wanted to put my name on. And people used to get mad at me. Oh, well, Suzanne Summers has hers and Tony Little. It's like, I don't see anything I really love. And I found this over in England. It was being used as an office de-stressor. And I'm a Broadway dancer. I'm actually in the National Fitness Hall of Fame. And I got inducted in 2000.
I did see that. But there's only so much we can put
into one. I know, it's been great trying to stick this all into one life. And when I felt this and touched this, I said to the gentleman who owned the company, I said, this is the greatest fitness product I've ever seen. He's like, no, not a fitness product. It's an office de-stressor. And I said, okay. And then I said, well, can I get it? He said, well, you could have this one. I said, no, tell me about the company. Now, up until this moment in time, I'd never been really an entrepreneur. I'd been a soulpreneur and done, as an actress and stuff. But he said to me, look, I don't want to do the business anymore. I will give it to you if you can sell 25,000 in the first year and then give me a small percentage. Well, 2.2 million units later, I not only own the company and all the IP and everything that goes with it, but I created an entire movement about how you can get fit at your desk. And this little thing actually spins at 125,000 RPM. This thing is so fast that Stanford just did a TED talk on it, that you can put a vial of blood here, spin it, and it works as a centrifuge. And in third world countries, this is now what they're using, okay? For your body, it means that it actually fires every muscle all at the same time. And unbelievably, you lose weight crazy, you tone your muscles, and you also get yourself in a really fun state. In 60 seconds, you double your heart rate. No other product like that. It's not a resistance band. It's not a dumbbell. It's a spin gym. I got to tell you. Now, the only problem is I have pretty much focused on home shopping, where I did so well that we haven't really launched it out to the public. So that is the focus coming up, about getting trainers to do this. And let's face it, if something as silly as Zumba is Latin dancing to music, how do you even patent that? It's a global sensation. Spin Gym stands a real chance of blowing up as big as we can make it.
That's incredible. Listen, I want to buy one after listening to you for a few seconds, right? You do have a gift. It is pitching. You're very good at what you do. But is there something you see entrepreneurs doing that they shouldn't be doing? Like, is there a mistake you see entrepreneurs making?
12, 200? Yes. They make mistakes everywhere. Oh my gosh. My daughter and I teach a class right now called GSD. It's called Get Done. Because most entrepreneurs talk a lot, but they don't take much action. They don't have good follow-through skills. And even entrepreneurs who are doctors and lawyers, they're not entrepreneurs. As one of my friends, they had entrepreneurial seizures. They didn't go to school for entrepreneurialism. They don't know how to do data and books and email marketing. They went to school for surgery, hopefully, or being a doctor or a lawyer. And so very often people don't realize that the other side of this business is really important. So I'll show you something. You talked about your kids. So COVID was a very cool thing that happened to my kids. One, we all got sick, and I just lost my best friend, by the way. So I'm not saying that part, but the act of having to have your kids at home with you for their senior year of high school changed our lives. One, I got to love on them, have a lot of dinners together, but my daughter and I started a business together. She literally said in March of last year, Mom, let's take all the live events that you do. We own a very big television studio, and 4 times a year I do Forbes Factor Live in my studio. Well, no one's going anywhere. So we, like a lot of people, embraced Zoom, and people who embraced it early did well, I think. I have we put 4,000 people through my basic pitch class. I charge $19 for the class, and it's on Sundays, 2 hours live with me. And it's been amazing, life-changing. And then people were taking more and more classes. But let's go back to the girl who turned 18. Okay, she turned 18 on December 4th. She is a systems girl. She's been making money online since she was 12. Russell Brunson, actually at 10X, shouted her out from stage. She's a bit of a prodigy when it comes to this. So one, watching Mom do infomercials and home shopping and always coming with me, she's put together some systems and processes. We launched our business. Within 11 months, she made $1 million. She just turned 18.
Damn.
$100,000 a month. Unbelievable. And so being an entrepreneur, but now we teach this. She actually teaches with me this thing called GSD, because she was noticing the problems that entrepreneurs have. One, if you're over 21, you might have a whole lot of tabs open on the top of your thing. You don't have a time management system. You don't even brainstorm right. She said to mom, here's the difference between an entrepreneur and a success story. This. If you write anything on a piece of paper, you're not an entrepreneur. You're not a success story. She said, Mom, it's systems, it's process, it's Google Docs. Like, she has a team of 9 people. She has 9 employees because she just runs it like a business. Most entrepreneurs run it like a hobby. They don't know their metrics. They don't know their numbers. They don't know their techniques. And we all say now, just get emotion out of the business. It's all about metrics. And for people who are like me, who are very heart-centric, we're like, no, don't call them prospects. Call them new friends. Out of the mouth.
Are you a new real estate agent or thinking about getting a real estate license? If so, you're going to want to ask about the Greater Property Group's Agent Scholarship Program. Why pay for the cost of the course yourself when the Greater Property Group will subsidize the cost for you? Make sure you reach out and get all the details on the Greater Property Group's Agent Scholarship Program. Now, is there a commonality you see among successful entrepreneurs and salespeople? Is there one quality you see maybe?
Yeah. And Bill Gates and Warren Buffett said it very clearly. And my daughter says it to me and we all preach it, and it's focus. I literally will ask somebody in a training, so what do you want to do? What are you working on? Well, I've got this one book I'm doing and I've got a second book I want. I've got to focus. In the last 8 months, I've made 800 people best-selling authors by putting them in compilation books, by really embracing people. But the first thing you have to do if you're listening to this, a couple of things. Number one, get clear on what you want. And the words matter. This is what I preach, the actual words out of your mouth. David, if you're in my class and you say the word trying, I make you do 5 push-ups. Like literally, you stop, give me 5. No more trying. Yoda said it. No try, just do. And it's true. I'm trying to touch you. Stop trying, just do it. The second thing is you can never say in my world is I don't know, the IDK. Your brain, when you say this, your subconscious hears that and it goes, I don't know. It closes every door of possibility. Finishing is happiness. I have so many books right now because I finally bought into the fact that finishing is happiness. I had a lot of ideas before and a lot of frustration, and I'm a lot happier now that I've gotten things done. So GSD it, just get done.
Yo, I like it. That's incredible. That's incredible. Okay, so Forbes, what are you working on now? Like, what do your business goals look like right now?
All right, so a couple of things. If for your audience who's just listening, I just decided to do a live event again. So I'm doing Forbes Factor live in my studio again. Very excited about that. I have a brand new book called Forbes Factor. I've really taken and delineated what I do. And I'm a big acronym person. Like for the word diet, because I have this whole fitness thing I do, diet becomes decisions I eat today. And I created here.
Oh, hold on, Forbes. Hey, Brad, I'm sitting here with somebody that wants to say hi.
Hey, Brad, I'm your biggest fan, and I publicly wanted to say how much I love to drop bombs with you.
That was Forbes.
Well, wait. What's going on, Forbes?
Can you hear Brad?
Hey, brother, how's it going? We were just talking, and David says, I got to drop a bomb here. I got to drop a bomb. He's like, oh, my God, we're talking about Brad Lee, and he just texted me. The world is amazing. I said, get that boy on the phone.
There we go.
You guys are awesome. Well, let me tell you, Forbes Riley, I'm telling you, the best in the business. You guys are listening to the right episode.
And that would be a bomb drop for the guy who also has one of the coolest. You know what, Brad? I am addicted to you on Instagram. I wake up in the morning and right after Joshua, I see one of your videos and it makes my day.
Listen, Brad doesn't need to hear that.
Thank you. I'll let you guys get back to you.
Okay, thanks, Brad. See ya. Yeah, peace. Yeah, he doesn't need to hear that, Forbes.
Well,
he hears that enough.
I know, but all kidding aside, he is creating some amazing content, and at his level, he doesn't need to do that. And I think it's become a great outlet for him, as a lot of us. You know, I have the most beautiful mentors in the world. One of my best friends is Les Brown. And I have Les. I taught him pitching. He taught me pitching, coaching, speaking. I have him on videotape, really just talking about who I might be to the world. And I've now spent a lot of time living up to that, because at the end of the day, as cool as this all might look, I do need you to tell me how wonderful I am. I do need you to tell me that I changed your life. I love getting letters and emails because it's not about ego. It is about that there's still a voice in my head that's that fat little goofy kid from Long Island who doesn't necessarily think that she fits in. And the truth is, and I gotta leave you guys with this, is that you're never enough. We always say, I'm enough. Well, you're never going to be enough. You're not thin enough or pretty enough, or you're never going to be rich enough. You're not going to be anything enough because there's always somebody where you think you might want to be. So the smartest thing I think that you can do is to step back and stop comparing and to say to yourself, this is who I am. For all the goofy faults, for my nose being a little silly or this or that, I am a work in progress. I love me very much. I don't think that I'm perfect at all. And I love the journey. And this is, it's funny because I look at great pictures. Everybody looks great in a photo, right? How it doesn't change. She doesn't get any older there. By the way, this is one of my favorite all-time books because I have a different take on dieting. I don't want us to suffer. I created a really cool system that it says just what you eat today. Stop feeling guilty. I struggled, David, so much in my life that to be at this point and to be asked to be on a podcast like yours or to know people like Brad and Grant and Kevin Harrington's down the street and Les Brown, these are folks I dreamed of when I was little. I'm friends with lots of TV and movie stars. I get a real kick out of it. I always, and maybe it's, I don't know, I get a kick out of it that I can talk to. It used to be Florence Henderson from the Brady Bunch was one of my closest friends and she's since gone. Or if you go to YouTube, all right, want to see something crazy? Mm-hmm. And again, nobody really knows the true story. You're going to get a little insider tip, but you've heard of this girl named, what is her name? Kim
Kardashian.
Yeah, that's her name. Well, you know what? When I met her, nobody knew her name. And I gave her start on television.
What?
We invited a top Hollywood stylist who's known to be the closet organizer to the stars. Please welcome my dear friend, Kim Kardashian.
You've seen her in all the magazines and on the E! Entertainment Network with her best friend Paris. Beautiful Kimberly Kardashian is a model and film and TV wardrobe stylist. Plus, she's busy with her two businesses doing celebrity closet makeovers and her upscale fashion store Dash in Southern California. What does this fashion pro think of the all-new Pressabella?
I'm in the fashion business, so
that was Kim when I met her. That was a year before Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I just done an infomercial with Bruce. Chris and I wrote a little bit of a book together. And she'd said to me, can you get my daughter on TV? Funny world, isn't it?
Boy, is it ever. Incredibly interesting. Now, we do have 3 minutes left, Forbes. We have 3 minutes, and I'm using up all 3 minutes, even less now that I keep talking. But you answered the question I had about legacy. Like, what does the Forbes Riley legacy look like when all's said and done? But here's a question. This is a fun one. This makes you think. If you could have dinner with any three people in history, past or present, who would they be and why?
Oh, I would love to be with Bob Fosse, who you may or may not know. I met him once when I was a little kid. He revolutionized how Broadway was. Harriet Tubman comes to mind, how one woman in the middle of all of that could have done what she did. What a treat it would be to meet her. And the third one, wow, I got to think about who in history just excites me to no end. Wow, I'm just going to, who I've not met? I've not met Barbara Streisand.
Oh. Okay.
And when I look at Funny Girl, I'm going to start to cry. When I look at Funny Girl, that was the movie that changed everything for me. I looked at this awkward, big nose, goofy girl. She was the star of the movie. She got the hot guy, didn't keep him, and I thought if she could do that, and then she would open her mouth and sing. And so I'd love to have dinner with her. So Barbara, you're still alive. Beautiful husband. I think we could all arrange having at least one meal together.
We can make it happen. We'll make it. If anybody can make it happen, it's us. So
I'd love that.
Very interesting, Forbes. I really appreciate your time with us today. It was so good to hear your story, get to know you better. So many takeaways from this one. Working mom, all you've been through, from acting to Infomercials, billions of dollars in sales, telling me how I am introducing myself incorrectly. I got to fix that. A few other takeaways, but thank you very much, Forbes. Where would you like the people to go and find you, follow you? We'll put it all in the show notes.
Well, so anytime that you want to come take a pitching class, I'm going to offer your people a really special deal. You go to Pitch Secrets Masterclass. And so far, every Sunday I've been there, and I will always keep that going because there's so many insights. And then just join me at ForbesRiley.com. I put everything up there. I have lots of free gifts. If you go to ForbesRiley.com, you will notice I've got free videos you can have and free insights. I've got a new newsletter coming out. They keep calling me the queen of pitch. And so I'm taking this whole branding concept to the nth degree and enjoying it to no end. Because I truly believe, I'll leave you with a couple of what I call magnetisms, literally what I used to see on the magnets in my refrigerator. One was leap and the net will appear. Stop playing small. Embrace your fear, the butterflies, and go for it, because life is on the other side of fear. It really is where all the good stuff lies, and I know that from experience. So go do it anyway. The second one is you are the sum of the obstacles you overcome. You've all had bad things happen to you, and I know that, and then that's okay. I do a little work with people called breakthrough training, because nobody should suffer. And this is a side of my career and my business that nobody knows about, David. I know it's in my last minute, but if anyone's been through a very bad trauma, rape, molestation, it's crazy thing, we have a thing that we do. And I would love you to reach out to me, because we're doing a call to healing. And I started doing it actually on Clubhouse. Phenomenal. Nobody should suffer because of your past events. This is actually why I'm where I am now, because I also had a closet full of things that were weighing me down. I would drag that closet everywhere to every new relationship. I mean, it's big and ugly and dirty. When I cut that rope and let go and not dragged down by what isn't actually happening now anyway, you get to write a really cool future for yourself. And lastly, I think that life happens for you, not to you. So take all of those things and make it work for you, because we only may live one time, but if you do it right, once is enough.